Good morning, dear friends. Good morning to you. This is the Monday version of this thing of ours, the 5th of February, 2024. And it is now 274 days until the election. Remember what I'm saying. Before we begin, we're going to be talking a bit about Tucker Carlson and also what the Grammys meant. Let me explain to you what it is that we do. In the event you might be new to this thing of ours. Let me see if I can explain this to you. It works something like this. Number one, we live in a world where we are outcasts. We don't fit in. We don't have anyone really here who sticks with us. There are some who might fancy themselves as conservative, some who might fancy themselves as Republican, a right wing. There might be some who used to be called left, but whatever you want to call it. What we do is there is a complete and total rejection of what would be called woke radical left. Absolutely, positively, without a doubt. Do you hear what I'm saying? Without a doubt. Listen to me very carefully. Without a doubt. Let me just make sure you understand. Without a doubt. That's number one. Number two, we get together, and what I do is I look from the top of the mountain and I point out how the enemy is doing and how we are making improvements. Sometimes they've got good news, sometimes they've got bad news. Sometimes I'll say, this is something that you might not have noticed. And other times I might say, this is something that is something you should pay attention to. Andrew Breitbart said something which was very, very interesting. One of the things which I think should be committed to memory. And that is that politics is downstream from culture. If you want to see how people are doing, look elsewhere. The purpose of Wilson's broken window theory, which was very, very critical, is something that Rudy Giuliani made famous in his particular his mayoralty, was that you look to see how people view the law and order parameters of your society. And the reason why broken windows make sense is that if you live in a neighborhood where there is a broken window that has not been corrected, not been repaired, what you are doing is you are signaling to the rest of the world, of the rest of society, of the rest of these folks, you are signaling to them that you don't take this seriously. You are telling people you don't take law and order and a sense of community seriously, because if you did, you would fix this window. You wouldn't let it go weeks and months and years. When you see what's happened to Gary, Indiana, when we see what's happened to parts years ago of Detroit, when you see what's happening to towns where the mills close, and you see it. So you have to look. And there are people who look sometimes to changes, and I think they get it right, and sometimes they get it wrong. And sometimes they are correct. And today is good news. Good news. Now remember, good news can change tomorrow. Don't think like the war is over, that we've won. But whenever there's good news, I want to be the first one to tell you about it. There is good news. Number one. And before we get to Tucker Carlson, I want to explain this to you. Last night, do a quick perusal of the Grammys. Now, let me tell you what most people do. Who? What? Huh? I don't watch that crap. I've been through this a million times. It sounds like my parents in the old days. What is this, Alice Cooper? What is this crap? Missing the point. Missing the point. I don't want to hear that. I don't watch the. There are people who bathe in the sense of I don't know anything. I don't know anything about this. I don't know who these people are. Who? I find out who they are. I don't wow you with what I don't know. I don't sit back and say, hey, I didn't know 12 names. Well, I didn't know 15 names. I know less than you, therefore I know more of what I don't know than you know. Okay? This is the sheer lunacy of what we're talking about right now. That's number one. A couple of things happened last night. It was toned down drastically. No, remember years ago, remember WAP, honey, WAP, and when Lizzo, and remember when they would come on and they wanted to shock the hell out of you. WAP, I'm not even going to tell you what that means. And that is not an anti-Italian derogatory statement. It was just filth. In the old days, it was kind of quasi-satanic, and no. People brought their mothers. People brought their families. Trevor Noah, who was been defanged, even reverting, I like to see it back to a fro. I think that's great. You think I'm kidding? That's a signal. You're old school, OG to an extent. The fro, kind of like, if you notice, Jeff Zuckerberg has the fro. You notice? Did you see this? Look for little signals. He didn't have that cyborg look, that Star Trek dude look. He looked a little. These are. Don't declare victory because of this, but just look at what you see. Look at what's going on. Pay attention. They had family. But they brought back old Joni Mitchell. Joni Mitchell, who was one of the most talented people, she is preternaturally talented from my generation, from my time. She is without peer. Painting, music, part of that. Wow, she's Canadian. Her name was Joni, was it Anderson or something? I forget her original name. But she was supposed to go to Woodstock, but couldn't because she was on playing a Dick Cavett. I don't know what it was, but she wrote the song about Woodstock. It wasn't even there. And then Stephen Stills kind of jazzed it up. One of the most important, she was her Mingus blue, how she used, oh my God, when she would bring Pat Metheny, and some of the best stuff ever is when they said, Joni, you need jazz musicians. You don't need. She brought Jaco Pastorius doing Coyote, and oh my God. Anyway, so she is now older. Graham Nash was the love. She said, and just broke him apart. He's bouncing around and she's not. It goes to show you, old age is, you never know. You just never know. It's fascinating. You don't know how people are going to age. You don't know. Did you ever see people, who was it, Jane Birkin? And this is just age. This is just people, they just get older. Some people get, anyway. So she makes me think of this. When do you not appear because of your infirmity? This is a side issue that I've only I perhaps admittedly am interested in, because I'm interested in everything. And the more people say that, the more I'm interested in it. Kirk Douglas had a massive stroke. Remember that? He could barely talk. They brought him out. They brought out Dick Clark after his stroke, and he tried, but it, quote, made people feel a little uncomfortable, and you couldn't understand what he was saying, because that is what a stroke and ischemic attack is. And there was this discussion that's like, should they do this? And I said, wait a minute. No, don't hide the handicap. Bring them out. You're not going to bring somebody out because they're blind. Well, that doesn't affect anything, because I went into these large discussions and said, you're talking about what makes you feel uncomfortable. Doesn't matter. Who cares what you feel uncomfortable at? This is Kirk Douglas. If you had a stroke, get a stroke. What? Yeah, you don't have people in your family who's had a stroke? What, do we discard them? And then I said, what about Stephen Hawking? And they said, oh, you're right. I said, that doesn't make people feel at all uncomfortable. That was cool. They bring him on, especially now with his alleged, strip club romps and all this kind of jazz. They brought him out. He had ALS. That's okay. They had him on The Simpsons. And so Joni Mitchell, she's far from that, obviously. But I love the fact that, number one, we are paying homage to our elders. Number two, this is very important, Tracy Chapman. Did you see this? I don't know if you remember 1988. I was 30. I remember that song like it was yesterday. You know how they have these Luke Combs brought it to his how do I say this? His how old is Luke Combs? Luke Combs is 33. So oh my God, well this came out. Yeah. He was born in 1990. This was what, 2? That makes no, he wasn't. It came out before he was born. In any event, 1988, 30 years old. I remember that. Oh man. Oh, I remember that year. I remember those periods. People said, you know how when you go back in your years ago, that wasn't a fun time. Mm-mm. And that's just it. That's my biography, ladies and gentlemen. That's my book. 30s. Mm-mm. That's it. No read to talk about it. But her song was just, it was a great time. Great. Just an incredible time. So he comes along and he says that when he was a kid, I think he said his father played it and he was raised on the song Fast Car. Loved it. And she just disappeared. Anyway, they brought her back. And it was great. Going back. Reverence. Remember, this is the Grammys. This isn't just a bunch. This isn't some music night. This is the Grammys. This is the signal to the world about what is cool and what's okay now. So you got Tracy Chapman. You had Stevie Wonder paying homage to Tony Bennett. You went through the In Memoriam, which was really good. By the way, we knew, Mrs. L knew in particular, Melanie. Remember, I got a brand new key and lay down, whatever. Anyway, so that was important. Then one more thing I'm going to bring to your attention, and then we'll get on to a couple of things. One more thing. As you know, I love people who are manufactured. I love when people are manufactured. Taylor Swift is the latest who is bigger than anything you can imagine. Okay? Taylor Swift is bigger than anything you can imagine. I am telling you this. I am letting you know this. Bigger, manufactured, weaponized, call it what you want. Illuminati. I don't care. People use that term. That's a Cat Williams thing, but bigger than anything you can imagine. Anything. And every now and then, she doesn't play it right. She doesn't play the image right. And I want to bring this to your attention only because it's interesting. When she introduced Celine Dion, who has they thought Celine Dion was really, she was very, very sick. Just hang on. This was a real, she has something, I don't know what her particular situation was, but and she's got a weird background because of this crazy how do I say this? She's got her that creepy husband, and grooming and anyway. There's something wrong with her. She comes out in this big coat, hiding apparently her debilitating disease, and it's just. But anyway, so the viewers of the Grammys called out Taylor Swift for ignoring Celine Dion on stage after winning Album of the Year for Midnights. I know. You don't know what it is. You haven't heard it. You don't care. I know. You're very proud of that. I understand that. You don't listen to her. I appreciate that. And let's make sure everybody knows you don't listen and don't know what it is. Okay? Okay. So the anti-hero singer basically came out, and I want you to see this. She does this absolutely fake, out of control, over the top, couldn't believe what she was doing. Won this award, the greatest thing ever, kissing everybody, hyper exuberant, fake, phony, absolute, just, and there's Celine Dion. Okay. Now, anybody would have told her, now listen, you're going to be up there. And the first thing you do is you pay homage to Celine Dion. She's a classic. You're 34 years old. You're not a baby. You're not a kid. But Taylor Swift thinks that she is going to be this perennial teeny bopper with the fake hair and the whole bit forever. And that's why this hyper exuberant lunacy is part of the bit. What she did, and you've got to watch this. This is so interesting. There's Celine Dion, and she just took it as like, thanks. And there's Celine Dion in this oversized coat, hiding this emaciating condition or whatever it is. And she just, it was horrible. Now, later on, somebody corrected it and said, you got to do whatever it was. But see, I love when there's a chink in the armor. And I love when there's somebody who misses the message, like, you schmuck. You had one job to do. It's simple. After the whole thing, the whole night has been Celine Dion, yes, Joni Mitchell, Tracy Chapman, paying homage to all these in memoriam. The in memoriam is really something. Les McCann, I didn't realize. I did not catch it at the time, and there were so many great jazz folks. Wayne Shorter. I remember he played with everybody. Wayne Shorter played with the Weather Report. I mean, there was some really serious Jimmy Buffett, blah, blah, blah. And that was the theme. So her handlers, somebody somewhere dropped the ball. Because the thing she would have said is, you have one job tonight. One job. You're going to go out there because people, as much as they love you, they hate you. They revile you. And you idiot, in this theme of paying reference and homage and paying, respect to your predecessors, you're going to really let them have it tonight with the respect and Celine Dion can sing like nobody can. There are people who are athletic. I mean athletic. There are people, and you may not like them. David Foster said when they first heard her, they could not believe what they were hearing. And by the way, she's been around since he was a kid. There's something. Barbara Streisand. Oh, hey. Ring the bell. Anyway, there's this Barbara Streisand. Nobody wants to, because people hate her into politics. Barbara Streisand is just not normal. I know. But her singing, incredible. Abs can hit. Minnie Riperton. Remember Loving You? And who is Who is her daughter again? Oh, Maya, not Maya Angelou. What's her name? Huh? Maya Rudolph. That's her mother. Minnie Riperton. Remember that? It's like, what was this? They can hit no. So these are the monsters of music. Taylor Swift on her best day couldn't even get near this. He never auto-tuned Celine Dion. She was an Olympian singer. And I'm not just saying it, it's true. Whether you like her or not, nobody can sing like that. You just oh God. But they made a mistake. But aside from that, and later on she and what she does is she can really milk it by going out of her way to over apologize. But anyway. So aside from that, I know many are, I know people are going to watch this and they don't get it. They heard what I've been saying for the past 21 minutes and they don't get it. They don't get what I'm saying. And I recognize that. It's a story of my life. It's a story of my life. Do you know that during the fall of the fall of the Soviet Union, KGB used to go out, it is reported, and listen to jokes. They wanted to know how people were joking. What were they joking about? Because that tells you what they think about the country and about the government, about whatever, when you hear what people are joking about. That's how serious this is. That's what we're talking about. You got what I'm saying? Okay. But the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, there's an election coming, and guess what? They're tightening up. They're reeling it in. They're sending the message. America is tired of this shite called whatever this is. Tired of it. Do you understand what we are talking about? Do you recognize? Do you see? Do you understand and grasp? Do you understand and grasp? My friends, do you see what I am talking about? Do you see? Do you guess? Do you know? Do you understand? Do you tell me you see what's happening? There is a change. We're going back. This Saturday night at the cutting room, I talked to anybody who wanted to talk to me. I didn't force anybody. I'm not standing by the door and you can't, like a Costco where you got to sign. Anyway, I stood there and everybody basically said, we want there to be change. It's almost like there's this group of people who are hiding, who say, we want out of this world. We want out of this world. We're not a part of this. Black, white. I don't know if we had any gay. I know people don't identify themselves. I mean, you kind of guess sometimes. One man says, I'm a gay man. Black people, women, young. How old was the youngest one there? Was it 13? 12. Yeah, 12-year-old. Who listen to this? Listen to this. You're going to love this. This is my greatest compliment ever. He's kind of hip. 12 is what's going on. His mother told me, listen to this. He never looked at his phone once. I was on stage for 2 hours? About 2, right? Yeah. 2 hours. 2 hours. And he never, it's that a 12-year-old, never looked at his phone. Because, first of all, me, but the information was, I didn't know this. It's like, I'm telling you, this is what's happening. I'm telling people stuff they've never heard of, and it's right there. So what do? First of all, it's not me. Well, it is me. Oh my goodness, it's me. Of course it's me. But I'm merely saying, no, I'm on the mountain. I got the binoculars. See, I'm telling you something. This is intel. They're coming this way. And the enemy is doing this. And we've got this. I talked to two people, one in particular over the weekend. Great man. He was in Vietnam. 82nd Airborne, raised in Philly. He said the first time he was ever in a plane, he jumped out of it. Think about this. City boy from Philly, Vietnam. Real hardcore 82nd Airborne. This is a killer. Nice man, but I mean, he knows what he's talking about. And we were talking and said, what is it that really is important in war? And what it was that you look at the spirit of the enemy. Are they losing it or are they getting tougher? What nobody understands about the Houthis and Ansar Allah, they are scary. They are so determined. You don't be fooled by these rocket attacks here and there. And what we're seeing right now are people from 12 to I don't know how old who are saying, I want something different. I don't like what's happening. And the Grammys are acknowledging it by telling you, enough with this Lizzo. I was pronouncing her Lizzo the first time I go, well, anyway, it's just, you got to notice this. You got to see what's happening. And you can tell. And how do you do? You've got to go for the intel. Now, the story of stories. A while back, certain things happen. Certain things happen. In my lifetime, 65, I'm a senior citizen. The city of New York has identified me as that, given me a card with an R. Edie Crowley, ladies and gentlemen, she's a new member. She's a new member. God bless you, Edie. And what I do is when I do a brand new video, new members get to see it first before. You do know this, right? When you do a video, you only do so many videos a day. You put the videos on later on. They can tell you when people are watching, when they're not. There's a science to it. So if you're a member, I put them on first. You get them first. And then you be the first on your block. In any event, something is happening. So when remember this, I'm lucky because I can tell you, I remember hearing 45s, and then there was, I don't know if we never had a 78, but 33. I remember albums, cassettes, 8 tracks. When AM, when FM, AOR. Madonna needs to retire. Madonna's got a lot of problems. Madonna's showing up late. She's so gone. No, I mean, literally. And by the way, she's a member of the 1958 Club. Me. Prince, Michael Jackson, Madonna, Alec Baldwin. There's a whole slew of us. Angela Bassett. There's all these 1958. See, anyway. So I remember going through all this stuff. I remember when AM went to FM. I remember when FM was cool. And in the certain parts, you couldn't sell FM. I remember when it was album-oriented rock. I remember Underground Railroad. Oh, Tampa, WUSF. There was this great. I remember when hard rock, when hard rock, heavy metal. I remember when the advent of like Black Sabbath, and it was the 70s were the greatest period. It was all happening. Disco was a part of it, but I was there, and then it just changed. I remember being there when the internet started. When I was a part of probably one of the first internet radio shows ever called IATA.com. This is before broadband. I was one of the first podcasters. Talkers Magazine gave us an award. Pioneers. Nobody knew what podcasting was. I've been a part and seen things change. And I'm telling you, I'm saying this is big. This is big. I remember when talk radio, Alex Jones was the Beatles for because we're not right. We're not conservative. We're something different. We got to admit it. We go. It's like, I'll take your conservative and I'll raise it a little bit. We're a little, We're part of the conspiratorium. Admittedly, we're saying, oh, no, 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 no. Keep going further. What? No, no. Keep going further. That's who we are. Keep going. No, 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 no. Tell me again what happened. Well, there was a Vietnam War. And why was there a Vietnam War? What do you mean, why was there a Vietnam War? Because of the Gulf of Tonkin. No, 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 no. Go further. There was no Gulf of Tonkin. That was a false flag. What? Remember that? What? Then the NSA said, yep, it was a false flag. Told you. And we were around since Kennedy. We were around. Nobody knew. I mean, this goes back. Operation Ajax in '53. We knew this. A lot of people, and they were nascent. They were the original conspiratorium members. When Mossadegh at Ajax, it goes back. Mockingbird. We knew after 1947, the Intel Act. Even Truman said, "Be careful of these people." That's who we were. So we kind of came along and everything was fine. And Alex was okay and others. And then came the internet. Do you remember the first iteration of the internet? It was glorious. Do you remember that? It was the most glorious thing anybody's ever seen. I've never had more fun in my life. Do you remember that? You could do oh my God. I have a friend of mine. I'm gonna call him Vinny. Okay, just as a name. Vinny doesn't believe anything. He doesn't believe World War II happened. He doesn't believe we landed on the moon. Everything. Vinny is one of the smartest people ever. Vinny was the very first person ever, along with another friend of ours who passed away, interestingly enough, who said, you might want to look at this 9/11 thing. And I said, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah. And the internet was beautiful. It was a verdant, fecund valley of just, oh my God, it was wonderful. I mean, anything they lured you in. Remember that? They lured you in. They lured you in. They pulled you in. They wanted you in. By the way, I need 400 likes, dear friends. I want to inspire. We must inspire. Listen to me very quickly. I want people to listen to me and listen to us and bring them on board. And in order for that to happen, YouTube makes a deal with us. It says, all right, here's what we can do. Every now and then, something will happen where it just something here. I don't know why. I don't know. I can only speak for me. It will just go crazy. It'll just go crazy. I did a commentary on Cat Williams. I just respected him. I thought nothing of it. I thought, well, this is what because I'm a man of many interests. In culture and music and comedy and this and health and politics and history and law and God and I'm into this thing called non-theism, the Jainists and all that. I'm very interested. I'm very curious. All of a sudden, for some reason, YouTube said, and my Cat Williams thing blew up. I don't know where this came from, but it brought people in. And guess what? He is one of us. He was talking about the Illuminati. He was talking about this to an audience that I've been telling you for how long? We got to pull in black folks, blacks, Latinos, Asians, lesbians, old-fashioned OG, plain old gay people. Not trans, gay people. Lesbians, morphodites, everybody. And they were talking about this. He was talking about this. And then later on, what happened? Shannon Sharp is still the biggest thing anybody's ever seen. That's where to go. That's where to go. I need 400 likes, friends. And then little by little, there were other things too. Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Kimmel. Boom. What was that about? Vaccine. Oh, that's why they put an end to that one. They told Jimmy, shut up. They didn't tell Aaron Rodgers shut up. They told Jimmy Rodgers. They told Jimmy Kimmel, that's it. It's over with. You're inspiring. Shut up. You are of no use to us anymore. Shut up. And then later on, there were other things as well. What is his name? Who got into it with Stephen A. Smith? You know who he is. I forgot his name. Anyway, Tucker used to have him on his show. What is his name? What was the name of this guy? He would get into this thing all the time. What was the name? It's Stephen Smith, by the way. I don't really care. He's Jason Whitlock. Now, when I saw this, I thought, this is about whatever it was. Nobody really cares about this. Nobody cares about this. I go, no, this is important. Get into this because you see fractures. It's like when somebody comes to your house and says, we got a fracture there. We got a crack there. We got termites here. That's what this is. It's like, it's cracking. And the people who are on, and Jason Whitlock was always somebody who was always on Tucker's show. We'll get to Tucker in a moment, pulling him into who we are. Okay, you got this? Because we're in this, our big tent. Our big tent is over here. Sparky says all bad things the Russian president allegedly did over the last 20 years were made up or carried out by the Five Eyes or their associates. Let's make people know, Sparky, what Five Eyes is about. Because as much as we know, and I thank you for that. But let's keep going. Let's look what's going on here. So I remember when this happened. Okay. And during the course of this thing, remember, we were kind of underground. Alex, remember this, Sparky? Alex is still, no matter what you say, I don't give a damn about Sandy Hook, whatever this. Before that, he was it. And he scared the hell out of everybody. And they made it their point to destroy this man the first time they could. Okay, that's that. Next thing that happened, believe it or not, prior to this, sort of, Howard Stern, give him a few props, a little pop, but nothing that big. He was okay, but he was more Rush Limbaugh. Oh, dear God. I was there. I saw it. When I got into talk radio right then, Rush Limbaugh was the biggest thing anybody had ever seen. Rush Limbaugh was so big. So big. He single-handedly, it wasn't about radio, it was about a movement. And he tapped. The thing is, when you make people feel that they're a part of a movement, you change everything. You don't want them just to be fans of, we like Rush Limbaugh. Oh, no. You're part of a movement, a conservative movement. You're part of a movement. Sparky says Russian president derangement syndrome existed long before Trump derangement syndrome. Well, yes, and we've had, in fact, Sparky, many derangements. And let me also tell you something. You might take umbrage of that. There was, to an extent, Israeli derangement syndrome as well. And I saw this as well. There were people who might have had a point about a Palestinian point of view, but lost their minds regarding Israel. You say Israel, and they just go berserk. I've seen that too. I recognize all of it. And I thank you for that. Rush Limbaugh, by the way, was a guy they actually had Rush lunch room. They had Rush listening rooms. People reported that, because Rush come in from noon to 3, people weren't going into restaurants. They said, what's going on? They said, they're eating in their car. We didn't have Walkman then. Well, Walkman, whatever. Nobody, you had a radio. So restaurants would say, look, if we put Rush on the radio, would you come in and eat? Yes. And that's what they did. I've seen it. Okay, that was Rush. Fox News. Oh my God. Remember Fox News? When Fox News was there, dear God, Fox News was the biggest thing anybody's ever seen. Oh my God. Roger Ailes, who pretty much spearheaded the Richard Nixon thing, Roger Ailes took people and he had a very simple message, and he recruited Sean Hannity and others, and he made that thing to it was, you couldn't, irrespective of what you think of Roger Ailes, he did it. And there was no other corollary to that. No other. Interestingly enough, Rush could never make it on TV. Rush tried it on TV. It just didn't work. Sometimes things work, sometimes they do. Okay. Pause. Then what? We're now in a new realm. I don't know what this is called. You come up with a name for it. I don't know what to call it. Mrs. Ellen and I were driving back from Philly yesterday, and we had in the Yugo. It's a stretch. We had on the transistor, and we're listening to garage band music on Sirius. It's actually very interesting. I said, "Well, I like it." Stephen Van Zandt, who's a very nice guy. Sometimes he gets a little shingad when there's politics, but it was very interesting. And I'm thinking, oh, that's so. This was kind of there, but it's being reinvented. See, so now we're in this world where you've got people that I have some people I actually despise. I will never mention their names, but they're doing some good stuff. Amy Goodman. Who was it? Abby Martin. She used to work with some crazy people, but she's actually very, 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 very good. Halper, Aaron Mate, Max Blumenthal, the Duran, Judge Knapp, Napolitano, Jeffrey Sachs, Colonel McGregor, the great John Mearsheimer, Alistair Crook. Go down the list. What is this? You've got Judge Napolitano, who was this, I don't want to say right wing, who was on Fox, libertarian, and Amy Goodman. What is this? What's brought them together? Israel-Palestine. Wow. You're getting lefties. You're getting lefties who hate it, who either, and you got to, Sparky will verify this. There are people who either love Israel, hate Israel, or some people who love Palestine. I don't know what it is. There are people who are Palestinian in Arab in their lineage who understand the connection. There are other people who purely just despise Israel because Israel is the big bad monster, but others who just want peace. There are others who like Israel because of the fact of the eschatological end of times Christian connection, because this is when God will be coming back and Jesus and the Moshiach and all this. You've got people on both sides of this who have nothing in common except for this. It's fascinating. And the internet is saving the day. And somebody somewhere, I think at YouTube, I think at Facebook, I think are saying, let this go. Don't get in the way. As long as they don't say something too crazy, go ahead. Because you've noticed this? Have you noticed that all of a sudden, vaccine stuff, they're letting you speak? Have you noticed this? Have you noticed what's going on? Who's noticed this? Sparky says in the mid-'80s, instead of AM, FM, cars were beginning to have FM only radios. Rush revived AM. Sparky could not have said this better myself. There were two things that AM radio was. One was, and the other one was La Música Latina Cogorra con Budweiser, sabrosa, mente dijo cerveza. Cuando dice Budweiser, tú digas toda. Absolutely. Stop back. Stop. Look what I'm telling you now. Look what's happening. I need 400 likes, ladies and gentlemen. I need 400 likes. Ain't too proud to beg, sweet darling. You see what's happening right now? There is something coming up. It is next. I want to be there for this one. It is next. I want to give this here in New York. Just a second. Just a second, dear friends. Hang on a minute. Hang on. It is hang on a minute. Oh, here we go. Day X is here. This is there's a gathering on Tuesday, February the 20th at noon at the UK consulate on 2nd Avenue. at 47th Street. Protest to defend the free press. Julian Assange's final appeal to be held in the UK High Court, 20 to 21 February. And this is, I noticed this, and for some reason, nobody gets it. Julian Assange is so important. Americans who believe in the notion of freedom of speech, freedom of the press, should be going crazy to defend him. Should be going crazy to defend Julian Assange, but they're not. He's a creepy guy. I don't understand it. We have a court. We have a court case. We have a case from the Supreme Court, Bartnicki, that says specifically, if you are a journalist and somebody brings something to you that they have received that was stolen, purloined, trespassorially taken through manufacture and asportation, you can use it. You can use it. But, and this is the important thing, but the critical part of this, you can use it, but it's got to be, it can't be something you enlisted. And that's exactly, or you, by the way, requested or aided and abetted in its capture or release or whatever it is. Okay. Bottom line is simply this, dear friends. Bottom line is simply this. The reality of what we're seeing is exactly the same as Julian Assange, and nobody's speaking on behalf of him. Nobody in the industry, nobody in nobody ABC, NBC, CBS, none of those young people, because their minds, their souls have been so bereft, so cored out, so damaged. It's like a barren wasteland. They have no core belief. I made a deal with you a long time ago. If somebody's right, I'm in. I don't care who it is. It doesn't matter to me. If somebody's right, if somebody's making a position that I think is worth note, I'm going to say it and let you know of it. Sparky says, recent events help to clarify the difference between Zionism and Judaism for the masses. Before, only conspiracy theorists knew the difference. Touche, touche, touche. Up until now, and we'll get to, I swear to you, we're going to get to Tucker in a moment, but up until now, people had this idea. They said, Israel is under attack by terrorists. Terrorists, we know terrorists, 9/11. The people who attack Israel are the people who attacked us in 9/11. Israel is fighting for its life. They're the only democracy in the Middle East. Why they want this realism, I don't know, but the UN has spoken. Nobody knew what Zionism was. People would think of Zionism as some kind of almost like I don't know what the word is, like almost like a substitute for something, anti-Semitic. No, it's not. Theodore Herzl, nobody knew anything. They know now. And what's causing it? The internet. Now it is so, if you listen to the arguments, and I listen to everybody, when Michael Rappaport or Bill Ackman or people against Claudine Gay, when this is the answer that deals with the absolute inhumane, what's happening to people are seeing what's happening to kids because of the internet. I defy you. People who, let me tell you something, Norman Finkelstein, this guy he was so desert wasteland. He was just done. He was the grease man of, that guy never recovered. Remember that story? He was just gone because he and Dershowitz got into it because he claimed and alleged that Dershowitz, who, by the way, is 85 years old and sharp as a tack, whereas Joe is walking around yelling, who ordered the veal cutlet? But anyway, they're at it. And he was denied tenure. He's gone. He even changed his tack. He went against cancel culture. And, well, this came back. And now he's the hottest commodity anybody's ever seen. Dear God. And the left the left, the people who listen to this, who for the longest time owned internet platforms, own them. You own them. Love him. The people who on the left said, we hate Alex Jones, we hate the right, we hate these people that, okay, we love wearing masks, we love this stuff, we're these anti-vaxxers, okay, they came out of nowhere. Well, all of a sudden, those people that everybody said, okay, we give you our blessing, now they're saying, we love Finkelstein, we love, and I'm telling you something right now, Matt, and I'm telling you, I'm not even, quote, taking sides. I'm telling you the reality of what's going on here. When I tell you what happens with Taylor Swift, I'm not saying I like Taylor Swift. I'm telling you this is what happened. I'm telling you what happened. Sparky says, go Yemen, fight the power. Well, you see, here's the difference. And this is the interesting thing. And I appreciate that. I don't have this thing where I take side. There are some people who say they want Israel defeated. They say that. I'm not saying that. I've never said that. That's not my thing. I'm going to remind you of a couple of things here. Number one, I'm an American. If somebody's going to be defeated, I want this thing to be wrapped up. I do not want this to be the situs of a world war. Let me say this again. While you may think that's groovy and you may say, go Yemen, yay, go Ansarallah, go Houthis, get them at the gate of tears so they can't go up the Red Sea, up the Suez Canal. Next thing you know, Iran says, screw you. I'll do you one better, Sparky. I'm gonna scuttle a boat right there in the Gulf of Hormuz. How about that? Ha ha! How do you like that? Next thing you know, you don't get your gas goes $20 a gallon. You want that? I don't want that. I don't want anything like that to happen. I want it to stop. I'm not talking about this because let me tell you something, and I swear to God we'll get to Tucker, or maybe we'll pick it up again later. I don't know. We'll get to this in a moment because we're onto something right here. If you think this is yelling for the Yankees, if you say, go Israel, yeah, you say, do you know what happened? You know what's going to happen, right? These folks have nuclear weapons. You know what's happening, right? You know what's happening, right? Do you know what history is? See, when people were talking about Putin and they were Victoria Nuland was saying, you push or you told, and Putin said, let me explain something to you. And Tucker will talk to him. If you think that I am going to sit back and let this happen to my country, if you think that I'm going to turn my back on my country and I am going to look the other way and just let stuff happen, and if you push me to the position where there is nothing left for me to do than to use either tactical nuclear weapons, I'll do it. And we got plenty of them. Now, when you hear this, and Tucker can talk to him, Putin can say the same thing you did in 1962. Do you know how close we came? Sparky, you know this. You're a man who knows history. Do you understand? Do you understand how close we came to nuclear war in 1962? Remember that? Remember when McNamara met with his Soviet counterparts and they told him flat out, his jaw dropped. He says, holy, yep. Now understand something. And this is the rules here. You want to take sides? Go ahead. Yay, Yemen. Yay, Ansar Allah. Yay, Israel. Whatever, I don't care. It's up to you. But there's a part of me which is the humanitarian and the human being. But then there's somebody who says, I'm an American and I don't want anything happening to us here. And you have just a brand new reconfiguration of the world as to Mohammed bin Salman and BRICS. The other night, Saturday, with some of the hippest people around, I said, do you know what BRICS is? And BRICS plus 6? They did not know. Sparky says, Ansar Allah hasn't killed anyone since they started their blockade. The U.S. has. Well, that may be fine. And that's great. And I hope that's the way it is. See, the U.S., what we do is we just take people out. We just take people out. What's his name? I just call him Casey Kasem, Salami, Salami or whatever. The Iranian, but anybody. Obama did it. Remember that? It was God, Maliki or Alaki or whatever the hell it was. We an American citizen. We just kill anybody we want. We kill anybody we want. Who gives us the jurisdiction, Sparky, to do this? Who? Who is it? We give weapons to Israel. Israel does what it wants. What if somebody says, we are going to hold you responsible because you killed my family or you, whatever it is, and you, the United States, gave these people weapons. We did the same thing during Vietnam. We turned to China, we turned to Russia and said, you're funding the various, the Ho Chi Minh's VC that are, or NVA, that's killing us. We're going to hold you responsible. So you can talk about this all day long and you can say, yay, go team. So what I hope people realize is one thing. And finally, we're going to get it at 57 minutes. You know what? We'll pick it up later again. Tucker Carlson is breaking away from the rules. He is there. And by the way, he hasn't officially done this. This is the greatest work ever. Ever. It is so perfect. It is so perfect what he's doing. He's basically saying, I'm doing it my way. Screw you, Fox News. Screw you. I don't know if he got any kind of a diplomatic okay with this. Sparky, by the way, says Israel has nukes, so we should allow them to own the U.S. Congress. Well, it's a little bit more than that. There are other countries that have nukes as well, and they don't own the Congress. But this, listen, you know and I know, Sparky, that this is an issue which most people have never even understood. John Mearsheimer, and I forget his partner, wrote a book about the Israeli lobby. And you can hear Netanyahu himself talk about the Israeli lobby. And yet, if you say that, they're saying, oh, you're anti-Semitic. Nobody's anti-Semitic. By the way, there has been more anti-Semitism spawned and inspired true anti-Semitism by virtue of people being called anti-Semitic. It's like when you call somebody a racist over and over again, guess what happens to them? Guess. They become racist. Because if you figure, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, I forget. Maybe I am. I don't know. They keep telling me I am. I'm just standing up for rational thought, and they keep calling me a racist. Okay, maybe I am. This is how stupid people are. Bill Kristol was talking about, did I read something about him suggesting maybe we should detain Russia? Tucker. Tucker might be the most, whether it happens or not, I have no idea. The Russia-Ukraine thing has gone nowhere. America has had absolutely no interest in this from the beginning. Now, you would never know this because the Congress put on this dog and pony show where everybody would have, yay, here comes this. Did anybody see the famous story of Zelensky playing the piano? Anybody? Anybody? Did anybody see the story of Zelensky playing the piano in a particular way with a particular appendage? I told somebody that the other day, and they said, "You're out of your mind." And I said, "Would you do me a favor?" I said, "Do you have your phone with you?" No. I said, "Here's my phone. here is uh here is a Safari or whatever. Just just you take it and type in Zelensky playing piano with. Just leave it like that. Don't tell me. Just look." And their face dropped. I said, "How did you miss this?" Sparky says, "By the way, Duran aren't just news aggregators. They also have primary sources." Oh, indeed they do. Oh, they're there. They are there. Absolutely. They have redefined. There's so many great. I love them. When it comes to Ukraine, they're the best. Absolute the best. And of course, I forget the one who talks like this. He's a British. There are two, Alex and Alexander. I don't know which one's which. But he talks like this, and he goes back and forth. And he says, and the problem that one must understand regarding Whitehall is the fact, and he's very good. But and he's in this room that has the most incredible wallpaper from like the 19th century. I love it. The other guy walks around. They have their own style. They have their style. And you don't need lighting and a set and purple lighting. You don't need any of that stuff. You don't need any of that stuff. But in any event, it's the greatest. And for the first time, and nobody bought this Ukraine stuff ever. You can say, by the way, here's a globe. This is my globe. Do me a favor if you could. Please find Ukraine. And don't call it the Ukraine. Find Ukraine on here. Can you show me where Ukraine is? Can you show me where the Ukraine? Show me. What is Ukraine? Where's Crimea? What is the Donbass? What is Maidan? What was it, 2014? What was the coup? Who was Victoria Nuland? They have no idea. But they do know that on Facebook they have their little filtered thumbnail. I stand with Ukraine. I stand with Ukraine. That was one of the best things ever. It was like the vaccine thing. I got my shot. Did you get yours? Stay home. Everybody stay home. Remember that? Stay home. Save a life. Remember that? That was a beta test for how stupid we were. And guess what? We lost. The results are in. We lost. Okay, so there we have this. And none of it made any sense. None of it. Because it came back to Victoria Nuland. It came back to a history of a Russophobic NATO. And by the way, the NATO thing is so terrific. Here's the deal with NATO, which is so terrific. Remember, no Russia, no NATO. Say that again. No Russia, no NATO. No Russia, no NATO. If there's no Russian threat, there's no NATO. What the hell's the point of NATO? It was a contrivance. It was this post Cold War. Even George Kennan said, look, there's no more Soviet Union. No more NATO. There's no more. So it was the Soviet Union. It's not Russia. You know the story behind that. Come on, for God's sakes. Sparky says lovingly, why isn't Israel the 51st state? Because if they were the 51st state, they'd only have 2 senators. Oh, that's good. Very good. Now, Sparky, I can see in your particular tone, in the persuasion, in the tenor, in the flavor, in the volume, in the barometric pressure that is always assigned to your particular attitude regarding Israel, you are not a big fan of it. May I suggest something to you? If you truly want to be under the sea in an octopus's garden, no, if you truly want to be the best evaluator, lose any and all personal animus, when we talked about, I remember growing up in Florida, people couldn't talk about Castro because they hated him so much. And I'm saying, does anybody see Castro's point of view? They tried to kill him. Well, of course we killed him. Remember Operation Mongoose? And well, what, of course we kill him. No, you had the mob after. What are you doing? Anyway, remove yourself. Remove yourself. Remove yourself. Don't hate Hillary Clinton. Don't take that out of your vocabulary. Look back. And look back at what Tucker Carlson's doing. He is being brilliant. Is he or isn't he? Is he going there? We don't know. Well, what's he doing? Or could he be? I don't know. They are playing us. It is classic wrestling. He's bringing the heat. It is becoming the most incredibly fascinating. He just elevated himself. And by the way, in the old days, who remembers? Spark, you remember this. Barbara Walters interviewed Fidel Castro. Dan Rather, look at all the people that they interviewed. It's not the first time. What is so special about interviewing Putin? So what? Oliver North did it. Oliver Stone. What's the big deal? Do you know what I would do? Do you know what I would do? What I would do, very simple, is I would say, here's what we're going to do. Tell everybody what I've just said. Well, Tucker will be the 75th person. Do you know how many interviews there are of Putin on the internet? You know how many people have interviewed him since the beginning? Which one would you like? They do this all the time. Go ahead. That's how you get him. Big deal. Oh, boy. Anybody else? Okay. Now, Kim Jong-un. Now, that's an interview. You're not going to do that. But unfortunately, I hate to say it, Putin is interviewed. Just go and spend time on interviews. It's not exactly the rarest of commodities. And that will destroy Tucker. He'll say, oh, no. They've seen through this because they're making, you can't do that. Bill Kristol, well, maybe we should detain him. Maybe we should find out what exactly he's doing over there. It's been done before. You kill the pressure by making it a kind of a no shit, oh what? But that's not what they do. So if you really want to know anything, it's two people. So Tucker says, I'm going to go there. Okay. And then you're going to give me a hard time. Yeah. Okay, good. We'll call Bill Kristol. Okay. Now I'm going to show up on Tuesday with my producer. And we're going to be there. We're going to go to the Bolshoi, and we're going to have borscht, someplace. We're going to have a nice, drink some vodka, we're going to go over there, and then we're going to go over here. And then I'm going to take some pictures. I'm going to tease people. We're going to be in front of the Kremlin, that funky, thing. Oh, look at this. We'll see Lenin's tomb, and we'll just keep to. And then you do great. And then Russian people say, we haven't, as far as we know, we don't have any interviews scheduled. But why is he there? That's what Tucker wants. Why are they there? Keep talking about me. Keep talking about me. And all they've got to do, if they really wanted to do it, was say, you've got our blessing. Of course we know he's going. Somebody from the State Department, do you know how many people, raise your hand, go to visit Russia all the time? It's a tourist place. What are you talking about? What do you think this is? The invisible city? They go to China, they go to Vietnam, they go everywhere. There's even North Korean tourism. I wouldn't advise it, but they have North Korea. This is no big deal. How many Americans do you think or don't know you can travel to Russia? What do they think this is? That's the way you kill the story. You say, so what? Do you know what adverse possession is? I don't want to get into it. Adverse possession is when you move over and say, we have for what is it, 7 years, 10 years, whatever it is. We have used this property, open notorious hostile. We have now used this property openly, open notorious hostile, and we are, after the particular time, we're going to go in and declare that it is now ours because of adverse possession. And all it takes is for the homeowner who owns the property to say, it's okay, I'll let you do it. And he just kills it because he consents to it, because it's not open and notorious and hostile. What this is that this is what you call it. You pat Tucker on the head. You say, oh, poor thing. Well, bless his heart. He's trying his best. Go ahead, talk to him. By the way, if you could, if there's anything we can do, have a nice time. Have a nice time. Maybe you can try to get, find out why. Anyway, we can go through this. We can go through. I cannot believe. Who remembers Boris and Natasha? Who remembers Spy versus Spy? Remember Sergio Aragonés? It was in Mad Magazine. It was great. Spy versus Spy. He was from Cuba. Remember Boris and Natasha? I'll get you a little squirrel. Remember that? This was all this is Cold War stuff. I was a kid. I'd say, who are the Russians? I don't know. Rocky, I will destroy you. Drago. Remember that? When Rambo, remember in Afghanistan? Why you? Remember that? The just the propaganda is just out to lunch. It was just, it's one of those things which you say, do you not see how this thing works? The only thing I will say to Tucker, and I will leave you with this, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you know what you're doing. And if you're going to do it, don't make it look like you're some kind of kiss ass. Ask the questions. He'll respect you more if you do it. Ask the questions other people would ask. He wants you to. Do you consider this an invasion? Yeah. Or remember they call it a military operation. Why? What were the reasons? Let me tell you. Okay. Nobody knows. And you've got, please, do me a favor, Tucker. Remember, the people you're talking to in this country don't know anything, up to and including your ex-Fox people, like Bill O'Reilly, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Go to a map and say, what's this? Here's the Black Sea. Here's Crimea. What? How many people are Russian? Explain this to me. Actually teach people. What's the big deal? What's Ukraine? Are there Nazis, neo-Nazis? Who is the right sector? What about the Azov Battalion? Who were they? Who was Stepan Bandera? What about the actual Nazis, neo-Nazis there after World War II? Talk about this. If you're going to do it, please, Tucker, do not think that people know what the hell you're talking about. Start from square one. Sparky says, I don't hate. I look at facts. Although I had warmer feelings for Israel before their reactions to October the 7th. Is it wrong to think it's bad for Congress to care more about Israel than the United States? Oh, no. And they will tell you, of course, they will say, Sparky, we don't care more for that. We don't care more for it. It is far more disarming when you go and you say, I understand what's happening. I understand what's happening. I look at the world as an infection. I don't say, why you fungus, you, why you cancer, you, I hate you. No. I understand this. Why? No. Remember one thing, and Sparky, I think you will agree with me. You will never go and find crazy people. We're talking right now to the Houthis, member of Ansar Allah, and I swear to God, they're all crazy. They're into this. They're doing, kush, and they're taking drugs. And remember the berserkers who actually were taking drugs, which made them crazy? They don't exist like that. You know this, right? I'm just trying to tell you, they don't exist like these people don't exist. They're not crazy. The Viet Cong weren't crazy. The communist China, Mao, was not crazy. I do think it's like, can you explain to me killing millions of people? That might be evil. I'll give you the evil part. Crazy? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Sparky says, loved Boris and Natasha on Bullwinkle and Spy versus Spy and Mad. We knew it was all in fun, though. Well, Sergio Aragone was a part of he was Cuban. I remember one time we had a guy. I was at a radio station in Tampa, FLA, and all of a sudden there was a fellow who came from Cuba. He was part of the whatever it is, and he came to our station. So I called a friend of mine who was so connected. Whenever somebody from the Cubans, whenever there was a Cuban defector would come, he was very smart, great lawyer, but he knew them. And so they would go to him. Next thing you know, CIA, State Department, FBI, they work with him. He was like a spook by himself, but not really. He was just there. They said, look, he said, they come to me, and he was a great patriot, but he told me the truth. He said, no, you don't understand something. So I called him up and said, listen, we got this guy at the station. Oh, really? What's his name? I said, oh, yeah. I said, oh, by the way, does he have a briefcase with him all the time? Yeah, I says, he's recording you. So I'm in this room. I said, by the way, you know that nice guy everybody's talking to? Yeah, just for whatever it's worth. He's a Castro. He's an agent. He's part of their, and Castro had a tremendous secret agent. I said, that briefcase he's got, he said, he's recording you. I mean, not that it matters, but I think, oh, come on. They even did it then. I said, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. They're following him. They're probably out in the parking lot now. In 1980, I was I saw stuff. I was just out of college, and I worked for a U.S. senator. And it was during the Mariel boat lift kind of thing, sort of. And when Castro was making all kinds of ventures and gestures, and it was really something. And I worked for a senator, and they would have all of these. They wanted to go to parks in the Tampa area, and I would go, and I'm getting briefing from. I didn't know at the time. I was just 22, 23 at the time. I didn't know. I'm out of school. I'm maybe not even 22. I'm representing. I said, this is great. I knew who these people were. I understood it. It was, and the people that were there that I knew wanted to have their items and their clothing and their antibiotics and money go to their loved ones in Cuba. They weren't crazy. And the Cubans wanted nothing but freedom also. And there were some hardcore commies still in Cuba. I understood all of this. I never got Castro. They tried to kill him with, I think it was Mongoose. They tried to get him with Johnny Roselli. They tried to get him with Santo Trafficante. They tried to get him with that. They tried to get him every way you can. Think he's pissed off? Do you think he's pissed off? And by the way, the Russians couldn't stand him because he was so hardcore. They called the anyway. But we never lost, never got angry. I knew exactly the way they do this. This is the way it works. This is what's going on. This is what is going on. This is what's happening. Oh, by the way, something else which is interesting, and I'll let you go. Saturday, people were saying, do you know who is going to be the next mayor of New York? I said, yes, Jumaane Williams. And I said, and if you think that Eric Adams is something, you ain't seen nothing yet. You dig what I'm saying? All right, dear friends, that's enough. That's enough. You have been so kind. Thank you so much. Let me see. How many likes have I gotten so far? A 384. Very good. I'm very, very, very impressed. Thank you. I don't mean to talk to you like you were a child, but I appreciate it immensely. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sparky, thank you, my brother. You were terrific today. Your insight, and I appreciate the fact that you know what the hell you're talking about. Edie Crowley, God bless you, sweetheart. Thank you for your love and attention. Keeping it straight, moving in the right direction, living just enough for the city. Thank you. All right, dear friends. So we'll see you later tonight. By the way, new members, I got some videos coming up. You get to see them first. And until this evening, and make sure you go to Mrs. L on YouTube. YouTube at Lynn's Warriors. Oh my gosh, and Saturday night she was the belle of the ball, honey. She came out on stage with me with the belle of the ball. We were, oh my God, they love her. See, it's not they don't come to see me; they come to see her. And if you see her, she's real pretty, and that's why she does it. Me, I'm just a senior citizen with a card. I got a card. It says senior citizen. All right, dear friends. Don't forget to follow Lynn's Warriors on YouTube and on Twitter as well, or X as we call it. All right, dear friends, thank you so much. You were terrific. I think we're going to pick up tonight. We're going to do round 2 of the Tucker thing, which is so terrific. In any event, have a great and a glorious day. Don't ever change me that sincerely. And don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da.